Hey. Those introductions, like the first few minutes when we start, is so awkward. What do I say? Oh my god, I turned it down. I just clicked it. I give up. I'm just not going to have my phone up here anymore while I'm doing it. I literally just pushed it down. I don't understand. Say hi if you're here, please.
Especially, doesn't your thing like automatically mute? Like YouTube, for me, I have to unmute it.
Hi, Noelle. I don't know what part of Oregon you're in, but it is gloomy and cloudy at my house. That's why I'm wearing long sleeves today. I was like, okay, I'm putting on a long sleeve shirt. The AC is on. Can you hear it?
No, I could a little bit ago, but now I can't.
Oh, and it was just us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everybody else is talking. That was.
Well, no. At one point, your like volume went up, and then it went away.
Oh, it's raining in Portland. No, I think we got rain a little teeny tiny bit this morning down here, but not for the rest of the day. I kind of wish it would, though. I'm having a family barbecue this weekend, and my backyard is so dusty. I'm gonna have to spray it down, I guess. Let's see. Hi, Wendy Whitebread. Hi, Amba. Amba, we need to talk. Tell me what's going on in your country, on your continent. Saw a video the other night that was a little concerning. Some unrest in the streets. Hi, Christy. Hi, Gingy. Jen, are you guys having crazy weather down there too? I've been watching about Tennessee all day.
Christy was tinkering in her garage.
She was Rick Moranising. Did you shrink your kids yet? I'm waiting for the day I get a message. I did it. Hi, Angelia. Amba, too much. Yeah, I saw like that video that I saw. It was just like maybe a minute clip, less than a minute. Like fighting in the streets over COVID lockdowns.
Being pepper sprayed.
I thought they were throwing food at each other because I was like, what? It looked yellow, but it must be like some sort of deterrent of some sort. Hi, Angelia. Did I already say hi to you? We could wait a few minutes and just discuss what's going on in the world if anybody's interested. Got 8 people here. Oh, that's good news, Jen. We flood sometimes here in Oregon, which is shocking, right? Because you would think that we would be used to the rain and crazy weather, but our streets, especially where I live, for some reason around here, when it rains really hard for days in a row, the rivers rise and they flood. And what, Christy?
Haven't you seen the articles about that?
No.
Yeah. I thought it was 5 years in jail or something like that, but maybe it was 4.
Well, I was just bragging on that governor last week, talking about Christian's law. That's not cool. Let me see. Quarantining how, though? Like, if you catch COVID, you have to quarantine for a certain amount of days or you're going to jail? Oh, here it is.
But what about those people that have COVID and don't know they have COVID?
Right.
I mean,
you have to isolate for 10 days or face jail time. So you're going to get arrested and throw them in a jail?
But let murderers walk and drug dealers walk. And
And they don't need
Yeah.
to test negative after 10 days of isolation to end it? What? And they have to be fever free for 24 hours. I know people that have had COVID and not ever had a fever. It makes no sense. Christy. We joke about ivermectin because it's like a horse drug.
Well, yeah, and also, yeah, she's right. Like a bunch of people in Mississippi are using it and calling poison control because of it.
That's because there are doctors, underground doctors, handing out over the internet prescriptions for it. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Taylor. Wait, how long do you guys have to isolate for, Amba? Yeah, there's a difference between the pharmaceutical ivermectin and the equine ivermectin. 14 days. I think it was 14 days here in the beginning, but I think now we're at 10 because when my daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter had it, it was 10. But then they were messing with them because they would like push it out longer and then longer because they all tested positive at different times. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe COVID's not a good topic. It just fires me up.
The principal at my son's school got COVID and has to push back the parents back to school night thing.
Okay, but that doesn't even make sense. 10 days from last fever. Like I said, some people never get a fever. So they don't have to isolate. You're still contagious without a fever. So none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. Beth, we are discussing any questions that you have from the case file. Anything you want to see? Well, I don't know if we can put it up on the screen because it takes a bit, but anything you want us to go over, we can cover from the case file. Just waiting for a few more people to hop on. Christy, are you going to call poison control after you overdose on horse ivermectin?
That's how she's going to shrink her kids.
We've already questioned everything, Beth. Or mostly everything. Well, does anybody... Oh, how are we all? I am good. Good. Kind of enjoying the weather. I'm a summer girl, but it has been too much here.
You can send it here. We'll take it.
Well, it seems like you've had a rainy summer.
It rains here every year in the summer.
Oh, so you guys turned into the PNW?
It's like, but it's hot. And not cold and gross like the West Coast or Northwest.
There was something that I was going to talk about tonight. Now I meant to make a note and I forgot. The case, like, there's been this huge lull and nothing. There's like nothing happening on any end right now. Not even with the defamation suit. Nothing. I do have a story about Christian, though. Let's see. This one's from Todd, and it says, Alexis sends them to us, so that, but Todd dictates, right? So it says, so Todd and Christian were outside one night and had been hitting rocks from the driveway into the woods with a stick, and they swear up and down that something started throwing the rocks back at them. So they kept hitting them, and the rocks kept coming back, supposedly. Ever since then, Todd swears Bigfoot lives out behind where we used to live, and that he was throwing those rocks back. I just love the stories. They're like my favorite part of the day. Yeah, Noel. Yeah. I live in a house that was built in the 1940s, so we don't have AC, or we didn't have AC. Luckily, during the June heat wave, we got one for the living room, a portable one, and then shortly after, we got one for upstairs and one for our bedroom, and never again will I be without. If you want to see people that never fight, it's during a heat wave. I think that my husband and I were going to kill each other. And it was like we couldn't move, because if you moved, it created more heat. And we didn't want any more heat. And we had my granddaughters for that weekend, so there was 4 of us trying not to move and trying not to die. Oh, that is not good. I'm so sorry. That would be terrifying. It was so hot outside that you couldn't even like open the door without getting smacked in the face with like a iron. It was so hot. Does anybody have any questions that they want from the case file? Like, we can just discuss anything. And we are I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've put out in both groups that we're looking for other stories of people that have had family members die in Meridian, and it going just going away, or going not punished, or being swept under the rug. And I've had a few people reach out to me, and one just yesterday, and the story is very similar to, well, the story itself, I'm not sure it's similar to Christian's, but the circumstances, the aftermath is very similar to Christian's. And so I'm actually going to be speaking to the mother this coming up week on the phone, and I've offered her to let her come on when I do that episode, or when we do that episode, so that she can tell her son's story, and so that we can maybe help her get some awareness for what happened. Because same aftermath, like Susan said, but even almost worse, because she lives in a different state, so she was never given any updates. Like, anything that they learned was like secondhand from family members that lived in Meridian, or friends. And so she was never kept up to date on like when the grand jury was happening, what was happening, nothing like that. And she had to find out secondhand that there was no indictment. So, and I understand why she's nervous to come on. So we're gonna talk first, and then make a decision from there if she wants to come on. But she's not the only one, and I've reached out to other people that have lost family members that are deciding if they'll come on. I just feel so bad that they're scared. And they don't like, and I'm not making them come on. So if you're watching, you're not forced to come on. If you want us to cover it without giving any names, we can make names up. We can figure it out.
Yeah, to at least get the story out there, because that's horrible that people have to be that scared to not be able to tell their story.
I have at least five. We just given another one. I was just given another one today. So 6. Outside of Christian. That's 6 plus Christian. Yeah, I was just given another one today.
I'm sure there's 10 times that too.
The mother from yesterday said that when she was growing up, that the joke was always, if you want to get away with murder, do it in Meridian. And she's like, now I realize it's true.
Yeah, it was no joke.
That was always our joke for Florida, with like Casey Anthony, but I'm going to say Meridian's worse. All from the same city, all from Meridian. And we're talking actual murders here. The one I talked about last week, the man wasn't even from Meridian. He was from North Carolina, and he lay dead in the street for 12 hours after being robbed and beaten to death. Laid there for 12 hours. And there was 5 assailants, and only one got a hefty prison sentence. The rest got suspended or a slap on the wrist. Okay, so who wants to talk case file? Definitely, Noelle. Definitely. And I will say the story about that I was given yesterday, same DA that started with Christian's case.
He's behind almost everything because he's held that position for what, 20 something years?
We are, just so we can talk about it now, but we are taking a week break. I have my sister's moving away, and so we're having a going away barbecue for her next weekend on Sunday, and so I won't be available. So we might throw up one of our podcast recordings next Sunday. Which makes no sense. Like, how do you have a job as a district attorney and not like to go to trial?
That would be like my favorite thing to do.
Exactly. That, when I was a kid, before I was stupid when I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer so I could argue with people.
And be right.
And do it and be paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can argue all day long, but to be paid for it would be great.
I always tell Connor he'll make a great lawyer because he loves to argue.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stop.
Do you give him the okay?
Yes, I do. Even when he's wrong, I'm just like, okay, dude, because I just don't want the argument.
I'm tired. Matt likes to argue religion with me. And he'll start, and I'm like, nope. Well, why won't you just argue with me? Not that. It bothers him so bad that I'll argue anything else but that with him.
Why does he want to argue about religion?
My husband's very, I don't know how to put it. He's very logical. He needs something tangible. And since he can't see God or Jesus, he has a hard time believing that it's a thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm always like, well, can you see air? No. Well, do you trust that you're breathing it? Yes. All right. But that doesn't help. It doesn't help. It's like, I don't know how to explain it with him. He doesn't like, yes, like a see to believe it kind of thing. Like he doesn't like, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like he's like anti-religion, he's not a devil worshiper or anything like that. He questions it because he can't see it, because he doesn't feel it, you know? Like
makes sense.
One day
the logical
he will.
mind.
Yeah. And the other part that we always get hung up on is he doesn't believe in evolution either. So like, how did we get here? You know, like I just that part is hard for me. Like something had to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, case file stuff, anybody? Or is it going to be a quick one tonight? Does anybody want to just come on and discuss anything? We could talk about anything. I mean, well, Susan and I were talking today, and we were texting back and forth, a couple other people, and like we've gone through that case file, and we have shut everything down that we could possibly shut down. And there are things that are behind the scene things that we can't discuss, like we've told you guys from the beginning. And so there's this lull, and we don't want Christian to be pushed to the back. Like we're not giving up, we're not done. But what else do we do at this point? We are on week 12. Is that right? No. 11?
Yeah, 11.
So 11 weeks of this is, a long time to cover without adding new things. So I am working on the episode that'll be the week after next with those other families. And like I said, I just keep adding more and more and more to it. Sorry, I'm making
That's a holiday weekend, though. So it might be...
Oh, that's right. I don't know. We have 12 of you here. That looks like you guys are mostly our loyals. What do you guys think? Skip 2 weeks and then go after that? Do we need a break? Maybe come back fresh? Maybe we'll have something to update in the middle with like the defamation suit, or maybe some movement in the case in some way. Do you want us to I can't make any commitments right now. With my work, I'm hitting busy season in about 8 days, 9 days. But we can cover other cases in like a midweek episode. I maybe a break. Maybe it would give you guys enough time to come with things that you want to talk about. Do you feel like we've covered everything? Are we missing things? Hit us with the truth, because we don't, we're not, our feelings aren't going to be hurt. But we don't want to stop talking about Christian, because that's our number one priority. I do feel like there's not, like right now, like it's summer's winding down for most of everybody. I know some of your guys' states are weird and your kids went back to school in July. I'm just kidding. But like this week and last week, like that's so weird to me. But so I know you guys are like winding down and getting back to school stuff ready. Just when we started this, I had told Susan, like, I don't want any like quiet times where I'm just reading questions and comments, because it's so awkward, and here we are.
Does anybody have any questions about anything that sticks out to you? Any other cases you want to talk about if there's no questions?
Oh, I do want to mention something that hit me this morning, or maybe it was yesterday. You know how we always talk about the Dasaki's beer, right? Well, last week when I was reading that capable part, and Whitley had said to one of the detectives, something about, I do want to go over that beer can, or that beer and who it was for, or whose it was, or something like that, right? To me, that stands out in my mind, because it's almost like somebody realized they had left it in the bathroom and said to her, hey, you better clear that up, right? Because why
Yeah, didn't she make a point to say that it was the type of beer Christian drank?
Yeah,
I believe
and we
that's
know
what she
that's not
said.
the truth. Yeah,
Right. And he had
I
no
can pull that
alcohol
up
in the
really quick.
system, so.
So it was almost like, to me, like somebody had told her, hey, you better fix that. And how did they know? Like, did somebody get asked about it? I kept it in my...
Somebody realized, oh shit, I left a beer in there.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of me drinking the same beer out there on the internet.
Let's see if I can find out who she said it to. Hi, Heather. Thanks for joining us. You picked a boring... not boring. You picked a... I don't even know what I'm saying. You picked a chill week to join. Let's see. I'm trying to find where she said that. I'm sure I went over it last week, didn't I?
I don't remember.
You're supposed to be the brain, the rememberer.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, if you have any questions.
I know.
She said it to somebody, I don't remember who. But just like with the whole GSR, she volunteered the information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who cares about something like that, beer bottles, in a situation like that, unless she's trying to cover for someone who wasn't supposed to be there, that was there.
It's not in my
Drinking
last
that
week's
beer
notes.
in the bathroom.
Right.
And there's pictures of him drinking that beer on the internet.
It's kind of like one of those things like, oh shoot, I left it behind.
Yeah. Make sure you say, Christian, drink it.
Okay, Mama, I didn't see you. Prop my phone up so I can read the comments. I know it's in here. Let me see. It's so weird looking at the Dropbox from my computer than from my like iPad or whatever, because it's all in different spots. There it is. We don't know that he actually did. We just don't know why. Oh, better question is, if he had them on, why wasn't it notated?
Well, in my opinion, he didn't, because you can see in the photos, unless he wore ankle socks, he didn't have any socks on in the autopsy photos with the
Yeah.
boots still on, because the pant legs were up enough to be able to see into the boots. Yeah, good question about the jumpsuit. I think a lot of things got tossed in the trash when that truck was there in the afternoon. And Michael Sims said it drove around by the trash and then left.
I'm looking for that where Whitley says that.
That's true, Christy.
We've done a few other ones, Taylor. Some that we have to hold off on until after certain things happen. We had Mark Gillespie on a few weeks ago. I don't know if you saw that. He was one that we met with during our podcast production. Jeez Louise, why is this so big?
And we've talked to a few people that don't want to talk publicly.
Yep. Okay, I'm going the wrong direction. These pregnant pauses. I don't see it, Tanya.
I don't see it either, and I don't see it in the held for moderation ones either. No, let me look. Here, no. I don't see anything. Did you say anything in there that YouTube could flag it?
Sometimes if you use the S word. Oh, it could be too long. I'm looking for something. I promise we're not trying to be awkward with this silence.
She didn't talk to too many people.
No, but it's in the narratives, and I have to find the right one.
Sheet?
I know it's a brat too. Eh? Oh. Maybe it got flagged by YouTube then.
Yeah, maybe. I would think it would show up though on our little comment section for moderation. It's weird.
Okay,
Do
I
any
think
of
I'm
you
getting
guys?
close.
Oh, you found it?
No, I think I'm getting close. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a lot of questions. I think the why to cover up is kind of simple, that's what they do. I mean, almost all these murders that happen in Meridian go unpunished. So they expected everyone just to fall in line like everybody does with every case and not question things. And the Andreacchios weren't having that. And then everything just snowballed. They had to keep covering to cover to cover to cover. And now it's a huge mess. Yeah, I see the other one about the girl who was shot behind the ear.
Oh man, I've gone through this case file a million jillion times and I can't stand when I can't find things.
Do any of you guys follow the Katie Majors case? We're going to be talking about that one eventually too. She's looking for the comment that Whitley made about the Dos Equis beer, claiming that it belonged to Christian. Was it in one of the Arrington narratives?
No, I'm pretty sure it was Brad too, because I didn't even really dig into Arrington after.
Did Bratu even talk to her? Or was it something that somebody never documented in the first place? And
It was something about she wanted to talk about the beer bottle. I'm pretty sure that it was Brad too, but I can't find it now. Beth, I only see the one with questions that you had. I don't know. I'll find it. It's gonna drive me nuts. I wish you could search by word in
that horrible case file.
Dropbox. Yes. Because it's a scanned file, it will. You can't. Let me see what you asked, Beth.
Well, I kind of talked about it, but I guess she didn't hear it.
Unless she commented something else. I know I read it last week because I think we even discussed it last week. Anyways, I guess it's not huge, but it just stuck out to me that why would she make that a point to talk about if she wasn't being questioned about it. Wish I could find it.
Want me to look?
And yeah, I think Bratu starts at 30. Let me see for sure. Oh no, my narratives aren't gonna go. 28. Something else that stands out is in Bratu's narratives, it says the Emmy put the time of death at approximately 15:45 on 26 February 2014. Huh? The Emmy did? Because everything I've seen, the Emmy put 14:45, right? All this quiet. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Beth, did we answer it? I mean, we don't know why. Opinions could be, like Susan said, that for a motive for me, it was because Whitley lied and said that she was going to be killed by Christian, and so was Matt. So that's my motive.
And there doesn't really necessarily have to be a motive. I mean, it could have just gotten really blown up and things happened and it wasn't supposed to happen that way.
I mean, we've heard that somebody close to somebody else said that it wasn't supposed to happen that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't. My eyes are going wonky trying to keep looking for this.
I'm looking for it. I'm going backwards.
Okay. Let's see, what else did you ask, Beth? Let's see. Why cover it up? I think that my personal opinion is that it was told to be shut down, and they didn't think that Christian had a family that would fight back. And as Gypsy Ward herself said, you can't unring a bell that's already been rung. And I listen to we talk about it every week, but I listen to other podcasts and stuff, and like one of the podcasts that I'm hooked on right now is Court Junkie. Not Crime Junkie, but Court Junkie. And you would be surprised how many cases go to trial with a person being murdered and the other party, 99% always the husband, but claiming that the person committed self-harm. It's bizarre. They always get caught, though. That's the thing, is they always get caught.
Yeah, the statistics don't look good for Whitley and Dylan. I mean,
yeah, there's one that I just listened to recently, the husband said that the wife fell on a hay fork in
Yeah, the
corn fork,
the corn rake murder.
Corn rake, yeah. And
yeah.
There was 6 prong marks in her back, and he thought he was going to get away with it. Like, did she fall on the corn rake and then get up and then fall back onto the corn rake?
That was an interesting trial. They showed it on Court TV.
I'm starting to wonder if she gets all of her cases from Court TV, because everyone I bring up, I don't watch Court TV, so everyone I bring up, you've heard of.
I wonder if she'll talk about the one that they did last week where 4 people were murdered at a property management place. And it
I
all
haven't heard
happened
that one
within
yet.
a 20-minute period. And the guy who got convicted of it is a local chiropractor.
What?
Yeah, and he actually had rented a property from them, but they had no issues with them or anything. There's nothing stood out. Um, but he had like shell casings like shoved in a sock, a knife in uh, his washer or dryer, um, their blood on the outside of his car. And I mean, he shot and stabbed these people all like in a 20-minute period. And the last person that he killed, he did it in less than 2 minutes, because they can tell by what time that person walked into the building and the time that the guy walked out of the building.
I can't wait
And
till
then
she does that one.
he stole a truck from the building, but only drove it to like the next parking lot over and left the truck there, and then walked all the way down to some McDonald's that was a little ways down the road, where he had a car or a truck, and he got in his truck. And then he went home, I guess, changed, and went in to work and started doing chiropractor stuff on people.
Oh my god. How
And
do you kill 4 people and then go back to work?
And he was, I guess, like kind of a little weird. Like he had 26 pairs of the same shoe. So, and they were like
I mean, I have
Walmart
26
shoes.
pairs of shoes, but they're not the same ones.
No, like he had, like, they showed a picture of the pile of all the shoes, the same exact shoe. And that was a motive question. There was no motive.
Yeah, there doesn't have to always be a motive.
Right.
Wendy Whitebread asked, so Dylan was never at supposed gun night. What's his excuse for GSR on the hands? Okay, so interesting question. Good question. As far as up to the case file, he never explains it. He doesn't. It's never asked. And then 2019-ish, 2020, around that time frame, the other side's spokesperson started coming out with they didn't have gunshot residue on their hands, just because it says so. Christian, according to them, Christian was the only positive person, and that Whitley and Dylan didn't have any on them because it says indicative. That doesn't mean it's positive, and we went over that with Mark 3 episodes ago. So if you go watch that one, he goes into gunshot residue pretty in depth. And then when he started interviewing with that other creator, he says that he could have been fixing his brakes the night before.
These people don't wash their hands, I guess, ever.
I think that somebody told them that, these things can cause indicative particles of gunshot residue, and so you should say this, or they did their own research.
And they're forgetting Christian's job would cause him to have the same particles.
Right. Yes, Amber. Nasty. go take a shower. I mean, we really supposed to believe that Whitley had sex twice and still had GSR on her from gun night?
I mean, also after that many hours, it's kind of gone anyways, no matter what, from just moving around.
6 to 8 hours, isn't it?
Yeah. So neither one of them would have anything on them from the night before.
That was a good question, though, because in the case file, he never, there's no explanation. He's not the one that jumped up and said, oh, I'm going to test positive. I was shooting guns the night before.
Exactly.
When
he didn't.
He didn't start driving until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but still, he never worked on his brakes.
Nobody's working on brakes at between 1:30 and 4. And also, you working on your brakes, then you get in your vehicle and you drive off, and you're holding your steering wheel the whole time, like it's not rubbing off on your steering wheel. And then you get out and go into a convenience store and you touch things and it's not getting all over the place. And then you get back in and grab the steering wheel again. And no.
You go get food, you go to the bank.
Yeah. You take 2 naps, you watch 2 movies. But he had gunshot residue on his hands. But again, like we said, a certain uncle wants everybody to believe that they didn't have any on them.
And he, according to him, never went in the bathroom, so there's zero reason for him to have it.
Yeah. Nobody would touch food after touching brakes. Nobody would do that. The smell alone. I mean, I'm sure you guys have had that metallic-y, dusty stuff on your hands from doing something, and you smell it, like, or maybe I'm just weird. I don't eat with metal utensils because they freak me out. But the smell of like brake dust and stuff would drive me nuts. I wouldn't be able to eat.
Plus, it gets all over your food. That's disgusting.
Carly, when Culpable first came out, they were like, I don't know, like how close they are, but they were defending each other. I don't know about now because Matt's not part of the defamation suit, but also when Matt was on Kay's live, did he ever defend Jet? I don't remember.
I don't listen to her, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I know, and I didn't listen, like, other than the clips that was given to me for the most part.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've listened to is those little clips, and even I halfway listened to them.
I do have to go back and listen to all of them, so maybe I'll remind myself. I'm dreading doing that. It makes me want to puke.
Yeah, just those little clips. I mean, that's enough for me.
Well, Wendy, I think that because they were told to shut it down, there was no reason to question it. But
yeah, they just went through the motions. They just went through the motions of, oh, we need to get a statement. Let's get a statement. Oh, we need an autopsy report. They just went through the motions. They didn't question anything.
I mean, they should have questioned why Dylan was at the bank. And if they would have looked at the timestamps and then would have looked at the call records, that would have been enough right there for them to go into a full-blown investigation. But they didn't. Because we know that Ray is the one that had to get the bank footage and turn it into the police department. And there's no documentation in the case file of the teller being questioned.
Yeah, there's like 20 different individual things that after happening should have launched an investigation independently, at least 20 different things.
That right there is enough.
Yeah.
I mean, Arrington even came in, 3 years later and said, why was he at the bank?
Mm-hmm.
And that needed to be, I wish I could have sat in, I actually wish we could go backwards and watch footage of the grand jury. Because how was that presented exactly? Because if I was a grand juror, that would have been like, that's enough for me. But see, they didn't present it the way that we did, where he was in the bank, and we know from the call records that he didn't talk to Christian about taking the money out until after he had already left the bank.
Right.
And they didn't present it that way because they didn't do anything. Any other questions? Sorry it's lame. We will pick things back up in a few weeks, I promise. I'm hoping that this lady that I'm talking to this week is going to come on. Just to get her son's case out there. Yeah, I agree, Wendy. Because now she's just discredited because people want to discredit her.
Yeah, like I said, there's like 20 different little incidences on their own. Should have called in, independently. Each of them should have warranted something. It's ridiculous how much was ignored.
Let's see. We can go over a few of them. So the bank, the ear witness, the Dasaki's bottle. If they would have grabbed that and tested it for DNA, that could have been case closed right there, right?
Yeah. That would have been a big one.
The cell tower pings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing a
How
blank.
long he was there.
The fact that Christian got a text message at 11 something and didn't respond to a person that he always responded to.
The 3 different callers at
The 3 callers, which we've covered. So you guys know who we're talking about. Thank you, Tammy, for bringing that out. Yeah, she did say that. And why is it so easy for the other side to say everybody else is liars, except for the people that are known liars? I mean, Whitley herself in the text messages says that she's a liar.
And she's texting Matt saying, come get me because Christian's coming to kick me out. But then she tells police later on that day 3 different stories. That he was fired and home drinking, that he quit his job. I mean...
That she found Christian. Oh, no, Dylan found Christian. That she was asleep on the couch. Oh, no, she was asleep in the bed.
They give us 0 reason to believe a word that they say. I mean, even down to the food. They lied about the food and who ate the food.
I was just thinking that there was 2 meals eaten in one not, and instead there was a whole bag of food.
Yeah. And there's no reason for Taylor to lie about that because the time that he was questioned about that, he wouldn't have known that Dylan was claiming that all the food was eaten, and except for Whitley, blah, blah, blah. He wouldn't have known any of that. He has no reason to lie. It's food.
And how do we, right? And how do we just
But
skirt by the fact that Dylan was going to Taylor afterwards and saying, I know she's going to try to pin it on me. Pin what?
pin what? Yeah.
Pin what? A self-harm?
Yeah, that's such a huge clue right there. Yeah, locked himself in the bathroom. So how did they get in if he locked himself in the bathroom? They
And
didn't have to bust the door open.
how did Christian's legs not get moved if Dylan had to open the door? I mean, you'd have to like push a door open, right? You don't pull it open into a hallway.
Yeah, and Whitley sleeping through a 45. We've had that tested. Somebody tested that, shooting from another end of the house, and could hear it, have someone else hear it in a room.
And Matt told interviewers in his interviews with the private investigators that Whitley was straight when she left that morning. So was she really on Xanax? Did she go home and take some?
Yeah, because she said she did the night before. She didn't say she did that day.
Right, and he said she was straight when she left his house.
Yeah. Actually, just his toes were crossed.
Yeah, his feet were crossed like toe.
Yeah, it was just his toes.
So it's not like you could open a door and push a leg up on, you know what I mean? Like that just doesn't, it's a flat movement with the door. It's going to shove them both equally.
And his body would have fallen over. More than likely.
Wendy's bringing some good questions. Does anybody else have any questions?
And why is Dylan deciding before he goes to Best Buy to give the gun back? And then when he comes back, he's got to be looking for him. That's like so weird.
Right, Lisa. You are so right. Susan, you want to answer Wendy's question?
Did she ever stay at Matt's? Well, she was there the night before. Oh, did she even? Yes, she was there at Matt's the night before, and she got back to Willow Ridge. I'd have to look at my notes. It's somewhere around 9. So they even lied about that 7:30 thing. It wasn't 7:30. It was around 9 that she pinged back at Willow Ridge before she turned her phone off.
I couldn't take it with me. So you gave it back to him?
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't take it with him when he went to the bank and Chick-fil-A either. Like, he's setting it up.
Leave it behind the curtain.
Yeah, he's setting it up for, he got his gun back.
To be on it.
Well, no, he's setting it up to give him the opportunity to say he shot himself.
Yeah, and for his fingerprints to be on it.
Yeah. But he had already been dead for hours, so.
Yeah, there's just no way, Wendy. Like, the space is seriously like just a couple of feet. So, I mean, did you open it this far and see Christian? And then you were lying about the position you saw Christian in and how much blood you saw. Because there's no way.
The door being open was to the left of his feet. So, I mean, that just shows right there. It was open the whole time.
Yeah, didn't he say that on I don't remember where he said that. Was it on another YouTube channel? I remember that. I just don't remember when he said that.
Oh, I remember him claiming that.
And
What
I don't
position?
know if everybody that's here tonight is um, was on the autopsy or whenever I talked about it, but I had taken one of the autopsy photos and I zoomed in on it, and there's marks on Christian's arms right about here, like right here, as if he was grabbed. Now, I will be fair and say that could have been first responders grabbing him to take him out of the tub. We don't know, but they're there. And his sleeves were pushed up.
Exactly, Sleuthy.
You can say that, Wendy. We say it all the time.
Well, I think the investigators would have done their job if they weren't told not to. Because in
Yeah.
their narratives, they do make comments about not believing that it was suicide. But when they were
Two of
given the go straight to go pass by not having to do the investigation, they didn't question it. They just went, okay, nothing to see here. But they never expected anyone to ever see the case file. So everything was done so poorly. I think the marks on his wrist were just from the being bagged.
Yeah. And he had hair ties on his wrist.
Yeah. So I think she was just looking for, like someone maybe mentioned it to her and she didn't know about the being bagged part and having to come up with some excuse for it.
I honestly cannot wait for the day that we can discuss the things that we can't discuss right now. I promise. I promise. I cannot wait.
I think we've discussed it with each other too much.
We don't even really, we used to almost all day. Well, what if this happened? What if that happened? What about this? What about that? Like, now I think we just are pretty sure about what we both think, and we're pretty much on the same playing field. Like, but we don't even do that anymore. Like, we just know. It's almost like
Yeah.
it's
This
like we
is
just
it. This
got it.
is exactly how it happened and nothing more. Whitley claimed that he had tried self-harming before.
Yeah.
But
And
she also
if
said in
he,
her statement that he didn't. So,
yeah, and if he had, that would have needed to be remarked on in his autopsy.
and it
If he
wasn't.
had any sort of scarring or anything on his wrist in the manner of what would appear to be a self-harm or attempted self-harm, they would have to remark on that. That would be end all be all, right? Like, that would be like a, well, he tried it before, and it's not.
Yeah. Well, the autopsy, I mean, we already know it's the mark on his back wasn't noted. It was a shit job. They're supposed to note every single detail, down to dirt under his fingernails.
So if you guys don't have other questions, or I mean, if you do, hit us with them. And also, if you want to come on, we can drop the link. But also, if something happens in the next few weeks with one of the things that we can't discuss right now, we will post in both groups that we're going live. It may be a 4 o'clock my time on a Tuesday, but as soon as we can, we will.
Yeah, Sleuthy, there's absolutely nothing that points to self-harm. Absolutely nothing. The luminol, that's another thing. Why clean up blood?
Yeah, and why wasn't their clothing taken? That's what
Why
I want to
wasn't there
know.
photos of them?
Here's my thing, like, as an investigator, as a detective of a police force, like, it is your job to figure out what happened. It is not your job to have somebody tell you what happened, right? So you walk into a bathroom and there's a kid over the bathtub. I mean, he wasn't a kid, but there's a young man over the bathtub and blood in the tub, and you're being told that he killed himself, committed self-harm. The gun's not in his hand. It's wedged between his thigh and the bathtub. Left thigh in the bathtub, pointing to the right. He has a gunshot wound to the right side of his head. Why at that point did you decide, well, I guess I don't need to do my job? Several of them decided I don't need to do my job. But at the same time, even if they walked into that bathroom and the gun was in his hand and there was a note laying next to him, it is still your job to figure out if this was really a self-harm or not. I do not understand why they just took two people's word for it, and so much so that the medical examiner put in Christian's case file that he was depressed. There's no possible way she could have known that. None. There was nothing in his medical records that confirmed that. So she completely just went off of the word of two people that were there.
And the blood that was coagulated already in the tub.
And she couldn't have even had any idea of those unless Whitley brought those to people's attention that same day. I don't know where she is. I think she was out late last night. I guess my biggest pet peeve, well, one of my big pet peeves about this whole case is that Amy just took it,
that every single piece of it,
as gospel. To figure it out. Clear my name and figure it out. So how did they know that Whitley was even safe? How did he didn't think right away? Like, why not run into the bedroom and check on Whitley and make sure she's not shot too? How do they know that there wasn't an intruder? One of her accents that she combines, Lucy.
How did he know he wasn't breathing if he didn't go into the bathroom and check?
It's just bizarre. When I was in high school, there was a young man. I was like a freshman and he was like a senior. And um, it was a weekend night, and there was a local place that kids by this little convenience store first and get adult stuff. Anyways, this guy had recently broke up with his girlfriend. 1 minute super happy, and the next minute super sad, and you just knew he was a depressed individual. And several of my friends were there and around, and they got out, and all of a sudden they hear a gunshot, and they look in the back seat of the car, and there he was. He had taken a sawed-off shotgun and shot himself. And people saw the convenience store and going in and out of the convenience store, and it still was investigated. I mean, I remember it was being a big thing. Like, people were talked to and interviewed, and the car was taken as evidence, and it was clear as day that he did it. I don't understand.
Someone was
And
protecting
again,
somebody.
I know that not everybody that commits self-harm
I think you're frozen.
That's a good text message to get. My husband's hurt. Me?
You were.
Am I frozen?
Not right now.
Does anybody else have any questions? If not, I'm going to get off and call my husband. Or if somebody wants to hop up with Susan, I need to check on him. Yeah, Sleuthy, that's how it goes. You have to.
Yeah, you absolutely have to investigate
almost 2
it.
years ago now, a year and a half ago. It was investigated. Do I keep freezing?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So next week, I just noticed something. Is there something on Christian's shirt in that picture? Is it like an emblem, or is it a bug?
Yeah. No, it's a little emblem thing.
Yeah, I need it. He says he's okay, but he says it's bruised and hurts to walk. He took a line drive to the shin.
Ouch.
Yeah, I just love him being a pitcher. So next week we might be throwing up one of our podcast episodes. The week after, not too sure right now. We'll let you guys know. And then if we get some information in the next week or so, we could be going live sporadically, so be ready for it. We'll try to make it sure that it's in the evening no matter what. Does anybody else have anything before we hop off? Sorry. I mean, we've covered that case file inside and out. I don't know what else we can do. I'm trying. And I agree with Wendy. She wasn't the end all be all. She wasn't it. He was She thinks she's something else if she thinks that he would have done that for her.
Nope, he didn't do it. And there's zero evidence that he did.
And to say that it was because of Ray, come on. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Would not happen.
Show me in the history of ever, like I keep saying, a male that commits self-harm over their mom. They become serial killers if it's really that bad. Trust me. We studied those too.
They spoke that morning. They were making plans that morning.
Yeah. Yeah, Lucy, I'm ready to talk about what we want to talk about.
Oh, me too. There's lots of things.
In due time, I guess. Have a good Sunday night and stay cool if it's hot, stay dry if it's rainy, stay warm if it's not, and stay away from the news because it's depressing. Thank you guys for joining us, and we appreciate everybody that comes every week. And for those that want to leave nasty comments, we see you, we delete you. Take care.
Yeah. And Lush Hush, take your drama somewhere else. Not the place for it.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
Hush Lush, whatever the hell your name is. Annalise.
Okay, good night, guys.
Bye.